Breaking news into CBS Sports HQ, the Washington Commanders have released quarterback Carson Wentz after one season with the franchise. Washington traded for Wentz from the Colts last offseason. They were hoping to find their franchise QB, but a finger injury and diminished playing limited him to playing just 8 games last season. Now, with the move, Washington will save $26.17 million worth of cap space. Now, here's what Wentz did last year in just those 8 games. 1,700 yards passing, 11 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Those numbers were not great, and as you can see, that NFL rank reflects that. 31st in yards per attempt, 31st in interception percentage, and 29th in passer rating. So, for what's next for Washington and the Commanders, let's bring in our NFL analyst, Bryant McFadden. B-Mac, I got to ask, because Sam Howell is on the roster. Head coach Ron Rivera said at the Super Bowl he is QB1 for them. He's going to have to fight for that position. But with the 16th pick in the NFL draft, do you think they're at least tempted to maybe evaluate one of these top quarterbacks and bring in that competition through the draft?
Oh, no question, Mike. I really believe when you talk about the quarterback position right now for Washington, that has to be the biggest question mark in regards to them moving forward to be relevant and consistent. So right now, Sam Howell is the guy. Very, very small sample size from Sam Howell. Only started one ball game a year ago. Looked pretty good, but it was towards the end of the season. So you can't really put too much into that in regards to what he did. But outside of that, if you talk about bringing in a young guy, I mean, how much better will that young guy make you? And also, too, in regards to a young quarterback, I believe the best formula to get the most out of young quarterbacks is to have a veteran presence around for them to learn from. Right now, when you look at the quarterback position there in Washington, it's young guy after young guy. Taylor Heinicke is the only guy that has experience. He's the oldest. And then you talk about Sam Howell, a guy who's pretty much still in his rookie year, even though starting one ball game. Do you really want to bring another young guy into that situation? So maybe attacking the free agent market might be the best track for Washington in regards to knowing and anticipating some big names being available. Now, granted, you're going to have to spend to get those players into the building, but I think that might be the best recipe for them to move forward, to be consistent and to kind of change the trajectory of their program based on what we've seen over the last few years.
What happens now with Carson Wentz himself? In 2016, he was the number 2 overall pick. And assuming he lands on a team next year, this will be his 4th team in 4 years. So what's his career look like going forward?
Backup, Mike. I think the story is out on Carson Wentz in regards to being a starting quarterback. That ship has sailed. Well, actually, that ship is sunk. It didn't sail anywhere. It now is in the bottom of the ocean. So he has to humble himself down, in my opinion, to take a backup job. And we know backup quarterbacks are extremely important in the National Football League. It's not just about having a big-time starter. You have to have a reliable backup on your team just in case something happens to the starting quarterback. But his time starting in the National Football League clearly is done for right now. I don't know what will need to happen for him to be able to showcase that he can be a consistent starter. But I think that's the best role for Carson Wentz, is if he's willing to accept that role, becoming a backup quarterback. Clearly, Mike, there will be a nice market for him based on the experience and, of course, the potential, knowing that, hey, our backup quarterback is Carson Wentz. I think most teams would like that if they had that as an option.
What happens to Taylor Heinicke in this situation? Because at times he's a fan favorite. He gets all the pub for being a gritty player. Is his opportunity in Washington gone?
I think so. As a starter, yes. It seems to be Riverboat Ron is not really a big fan of Taylor. The fans love him. His teammates seem to love him. I love the energy and the juice in which he plays with, but he's been a bit inconsistent. You know, untimely turnovers, not being smart with the football has really led to an opportunity for Sam Howell. So in regards to Taylor becoming a starting quarterback, I understand based on what you said coming from Riverboat Ron that this will be a competition, but I don't know if that will be a legit competition, knowing that we've seen Taylor quite a few times as a starting quarterback, and he didn't really blow you away or wow you away with his production. He's been more inconsistent than anything, and that's why they're in this flux when it comes to who will be the starting quarterback or which direction they should go in regards to finding out who the starting quarterback is.
So I guess all in all, when Rivera mentioned at the Super Bowl that Sam Howell was going to be QB1, the writing was pretty much on the wall. But How imperative is it for him to have a successful season going into 2023, considering, the last few seasons under him, 8-1 last year, really their best year?
Yeah, I think this is a make or break year for Ron in Washington. I mean, this is a team, let's keep it real, Mike. They have talent. They have talent. Now, going back a year ago during the offseason, I was one of the individuals that was scratching their heads in regards to trading for Carson Wentz. I mean, I'm like, what did you guys see? What did he show you in Indy that made you feel like it was imperative to go out and bring him to your organization? That was a confusing move. It didn't work out. Now they're back to square one once again. But in regards to the head coach situation, yes, this is a make or break year for Ron. When you look at that division for such a long time, it was extremely bad, a watered down division. Now that division has become more competitive. The Giants seem to have found their stride. We know about the Eagles and their direction and where they're going. The same can be said for the talent with the Dallas Cowboys. Washington is looking at everybody else in the division, and they're trying to play catch up. It's going to be difficult to play catch up when, number one, you don't have a quarterback, and number two, you don't know exactly what will happen with the head coach. So this year is a make or break year. Regardless if Sam Howell is the quarterback, Taylor Heineke, or whoever, if they don't win ball games, it's safe to say Riverboat Ron will be on the outside looking in moving forward with the Commanders.
All right, with the Combine this week, it'll be interesting to see who their GM and Ron will take a look at and interview while they're in Indy. BMAC, thank you so much. For more on the NFL and for more with BMAC himself, check out the All Things Covered podcast. He and Patrick Peterson go beyond the field. Check them out at cbssports.com. Use that QR code on the screen or check them out wherever you find your podcasts.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.